I think all of you are aware of the utterances by Comrade Geza, which sought to undermine the party leadership. The Politburo endorsed the recommendation from the National Disciplinary Committee that Blessed Geza should be expelled from Zanu PF with immediate effect. We found that the party suffered a lot of harm from what goes on social media. We have no problem if the media says it's Chamisa. We have no problem because we know it's not a member of Zanu PF. Say is going to do with discipline within the party. So I thought that before I come to what I'm going to say, I should just give you a rundown of our disciplinary structures in the party. Our disciplinary structures start at branch level. There is a disciplinary committee at branch level chaired by the vice chairman of that branch. At district, there is a disciplinary committee chaired by the vice chairman of that district. So is the case at the provincial level. From the province, we have the National Disciplinary Committee, which is chaired by our national chairman, Comrade Opam Chinguri Kashiri. Further up in the structure is the Ad hoc Appeals Committee of Congress. But what we are going to talk about today basically ends at the National Disciplinary Committee. And when the National Disciplinary Committee takes decisions, they are not implemented until they are endorsed by the Politburo. So yesterday's meeting basically was endorsement of the decisions which had been taken by the National Disciplinary Committee. For those who may not be in the know, like I've said, the National Disciplinary Committee is chaired by the National Chairman, Comrade Opam Chinguri Kashiri, the Secretary for Legal Affairs, which is myself, and I also act as Secretary to the National Disciplinary Committee. Also composing the National Disciplinary Committee, the Secretary for National Security, Comrade Matuke, the Secretary for Youth Affairs, Comrade Machaka Ire, the Secretary for War Veterans, ex-political detainees, Comrade Mahia, and 4 other members from the Central Committee, which may be appointed by the President. Currently, we have these members are Comrade Mashawa, whom, as you may know, is the Secretary for Business Development, Comrade Mavunga, Comrade Mackenzie Ngube, Comrade Marian Chombo, and Comrade Abedi Nikongume. I thought I should just give that background so that we are all in the know. Much of yesterday's deliberations dwelt on discipline, as I've pointed out. Discipline, unity, to protect the party from division. And the decisions that I will shortly announce reflect the Politburo's desire to stamp its authority on issues of discipline. To stamp its authority on issues of discipline. From today on, we will be known as a no-nonsense party to any mischief or any misdemeanors, any factionalism, any misbehavior that will be taking place in the party. So I thought I should make that very clear. We must preserve our unity as a party, and as a colossal party, it is very important that we must check out or discipline those we feel are threatening the unity of Zanu PF. So let me now, please, I'm not going to issue out any document. So you need to listen very intently. The first matter that we decided was Blessed Geza from Marsh West. I think all of you are aware of the utterances by Comrade Geza, which sought to undermine the party leadership, which sought to undermine Zanu PF, and over and above that, which was an attack on the state machinery, basically a treason against the state. I will not repeat the utterances, they are all in the public purview. I will just announce the verdict. What is clear, of course, is that Comrade Geza was disloyal to the party in terms of, maybe I should quote the section if you are familiar with our Constitution. Article 19 of our Constitution, 19.1, requires that every member should be loyal to the party and its leadership. You don't choose between whether to just be loyal to the leadership and not to the party. 19.5, it gives you an obligation as a member to defend and promote the party's interests, as well as popularizing its policies among the people. And 19 subsection 6 says that you must conduct yourself honestly and honorably in all that you do in private and in public. We found that Blessed Geza violated all of those provisions. Then, in terms of section 549(4), he was required, any member of the party should not make or behave in a manner or make utterances which bring or has the potential to bring or as a consequence of bringing the name of the party and its leadership into disrepute. That is section 549, subsection 4. Subsection 6 says, every member is expected to behave in a manner which does not seek to provoke division, disunity, or impact negatively on the unity of the party. And 16 basically is saying you must not be treacherous to your party or its leadership. You must not be disloyal to your party and its leadership. Now, taking all the allegations against Blessed Geza, which are all in the public purview, the Politburo, on the recommendation of the National Disciplinary Committee, the Politburo endorsed the recommendation from the National Disciplinary Committee that Blessed Geza should be expelled from Zanu PF with immediate effect. As you are aware, he was a member of the Central Committee, and that calls for even higher obligations to the success and unity of the party. He was also, as you may also be aware, a war veteran. So he's not someone you can, he's someone who should have been in the know from the outset. The danger of his utterances and the consequences of his utterances. He didn't pay heed for whatever reason, and of course, we have taken a decision that he be expelled from Zanu PF. The next matter, which the National Disciplinary Committee deliberated, and this decision was endorsed by the Politburo yesterday, was one Gifford Giza from Mashonaland West. The charges against him were fomenting factionalism within the party and also using a WhatsApp group named Revolutionary Cadres to undermine the leadership of the President and First Secretary, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. You can see even from the name, it was intended, obviously, to appeal to members of the party, because as a revolutionary party, the mere mention of revolutionary, you go and read what revolution is all about, only to be encountered by factionalism, which is being funded. He was also accused of spreading falsehoods and engaging in succession debates, which were basically undermining the unity and cohesion of the party. This comrade was not even repentant, and we considered that his prospects for reformation were non-existent. So the National Disciplinary Committee recommended, also accepting the recommendation from Marsh West Province, as well as from Jimba District Coordinating Committee. We recommended, and the Politburo endorsed, that Comrade Gifford Giza should be expelled from the party. There were numerous cases of discipline from Masvingo province. The first that we considered were charges against Roy Bila, who is a member of parliament for Chirezi North. The National Disciplinary Committee found that there was no basis on all the charges, and therefore it exonerated and found him not guilty, that is Roy Bila, from any charges which were leveled against him. The next matter is Benjamin Ganiwa. The charges against him were that he sought unconstitutionally to remove 6 district chairpersons from their position. These, of course, have since been reinstated by the province, but this was in violation of Section 549, subsection 11 of our party constitution. He was also accused of funding factionalism and undermining party leadership by engaging in factional activities such as holding secretive unauthorized meetings where he allegedly criticized the president. He was also accused of running WhatsApp group. I'll come to this WhatsApp menace later at the conclusion of my statement. He was also running a WhatsApp group that criticized party leadership. The verdict was that he be expelled from the party. And this means Comrade Ganiwa is a member of parliament for Gutu East. This means that he will be recalled from parliament, and there would have to be a by-election in Gutu East following this expulsion. The next from Masvingo province was Comrade Kudakwashe Gopo, the DCC Secretary for People with Disabilities. The charges against him were, firstly, formation of a WhatsApp group to denigrate party leaders, disrupting DCC meetings, spreading and propagating falsehoods on an international platform. We won't say which one, but that was in violation of Section 549, subsection 10 of our Constitution. The verdict of the Politburo on the recommendation of the National Disciplinary Committee is that he should be expelled from the party. That is Kudakwashe Gopo. Then also from Masvingo province was Jonathan Shoniwa. There was, in this case, I won't even mention what the charges are, but there was a procedural irregularity in that the province had sought to try him, when in fact it was the responsibility of the obligation of the branch. But in this case, the National Disciplinary Committee has decided to take over and to become a disciplinary committee of first instance. So he's going to be summoned by the National Disciplinary Committee here in Harare and tried here. The same will apply to Felix Bangu, who was accused of assaulting a district chairman, impeding the functioning of the district organ. He is also going to, the NDC is going to take charge, and he will be summoned to appear before the NDC to face the allegations against him. The next matter is Brighton Mushekwa, who is the DCC Youth Affairs representative for Bikita District. The charges against him: formation of a rogue WhatsApp group, creating and managing an unauthorized WhatsApp group that criticizes party leadership and the presidium. I need to point out here that there is no problem about criticizing party leadership, but there are procedures to follow. You can actually, whenever you think you've got bad things about any leader, you can go to him, including the president. You can ask for audience with the president and tell him what you think or what the people are saying about him. But you cannot, as a party member, go to a top of a hill to tell and to say what you have heard in the street, which in most cases is unsubstantiated and false. So he is facing those charges, and the province recommended, the NDC accepted, and Politburo also accepted that he be suspended from his position as DCC Youth Affairs Secretary, but that he should remain allowed to remain a card-carrying member. I think I'm correct. For 3 years. The suspension is for 3 years from holding any party position. Holding any party position. So there is removal from the position, then suspension. You cannot hold any party position for 3 years, but you must remain, you can remain a card-carrying member. Then from also Masvingo, Kalisto Bangu, this matter also where he was facing a lot of charges, the National Disciplinary Committee is going to take charge and call him for a disciplinary hearing here at party headquarters. The next one is Comrade Israel Lunga, a provincial member from Masvingo. The charges were basically, when we looked at the charges and the counter charges, the National Disciplinary Committee was satisfied that it's a matter better resolved by referring it to a conflict resolution committee. In other words, we felt that the issues arising were too much interpersonal and nothing to do with the party. So we recommended, and the Politburo is accepted, that this matter be referred to a conflict resolution committee, which comes under the Commissariat Department, under the National Political Commissar, Comrade Machacha here. So that is the fate of Comrade Israel Lunga. The next one is also handled in a similar fashion, is Comrade Levi Gumbo, who is DCC Secretary for Youth Affairs in Chirezi. Again, for the same reasons, we found that what was arising in terms of allegations, counter-allegations, were more of a personal discord among people with different characters, that it requires that we refer it to the Conflict Resolution Committee. So we made a recommendation to the Politburo, and the recommendation was accepted. The next matter was Kenya's Diki, who is Zaka DCC Secretary for Finance. We declined to hear this matter, and we basically absolved him from any jurisdiction by the party over the discipline, because this matter was to do with matters that should fairly come before traditional courts, you know, Madzimai and so on. Traditional, those are, so we're referring it to the jurisdiction of the traditional court. It's not a matter properly before any of our disciplinary organs. Kutakatora mukadzi womwe ndiani and so on. It's not our responsibility, it's not under our jurisdiction. The next also from Masvingo is Ward 4 Councillor, Chirezi District, Rapson Mashulani. The charges he faced were insubordination for even refusing to appear before disciplinary committee. You know, these structures are meant to be real structures. You cannot choose to appear or not to appear. So for that reason, we recommended that he be suspended for 3 years from his position as Ward 4 Councillor, which means a recall from the council. A recall as councillor. He will, of course, remain a card-carrying member of the party, but will not be allowed to seek any position for the next 3 years. Then come the Harare province cases. There were quite many. The first one is Comrade Kudakwashi Damson, whom, as you may know, is the provincial political commissar coming under the national political commissar. Zvino kana uri commissar ukatorasa gwaraka warirasa, because ndiyo unofanira ngori kuti wamwe wese wapinde mugwara. Zvino ukatanga warasika iwewe, vazhinji vacharasika pamusana pako. Anyway, there are many charges against you, and which include manipulating primary elections to influence outcomes in favor of people whom you consider these associates, soliciting a bribe in order to manipulate, in exchange for manipulating a primary election in someone's favor, and the name is mentioned, and that person basically is given a letter to say, yes, I was sought a bribe, I refused, in the elections that took place in 2023. Sowing factionalism and provoking disunity, abuse of office, and of course corruption, and so on. The recommendation of the Harare Provincial Disciplinary Committee was a suspension for 2 years, that is from holding the office for 2 years, but We accepted it, but the Politburo amended it to 3 years. So the verdict against Comrade Damson is that he is removed from his position as provincial political commissar. He cannot hold office in ZANU-PF structures for the next 3 years, but he remains a card-carrying member. The next one was Godwin Gomwe. Again, the charges were undermining the authority of the party and funding factionalism in violation of the sections which I mentioned, Section 549, subsection 6, engaging in factional activities and division, worse, launching a scathing attack on the President and First Secretary, conduct which we deem grossly indisciplined and a violation of the party's principles. The province had recommended a suspension, but the decision we took yesterday in the Politburo is that he be expelled from ZANU-PF. So Comrade Gomwe stands expelled from ZANU-PF. Victor Manungo, Victor Manungo, charges against him deliberately disseminating false information on social media, causing disharmony and division within the party, and worse, clandestinely running ghost social media accounts, to hide behind ghosts, to spread falsehoods, incite factionalism, and create disunity. Third charge, engaging in factional activities. Basically using social media to cause divisions and undermine party unity. So the decision and disloyalty, treachery to the party. The Harare Provincial Disciplinary Committee had recommended a suspension of 3 years, but the Politburo considered this offense to be more serious and has directed his expulsion from ZANU-PF. Spencer Mutero, those are the charges, administering a social media group which was antagonistic to the party's agenda and ethos, personally attacking the President and First Secretary on social media in violation of the Section 549, publishing divisive videos falsely alleging discord within the Presidium, deliberately disseminating false information to create disharmony within the party, all this in contravention of the sections which I've already mentioned. The province had been lenient to him and had imposed a sentence of suspension for 3 years, but the Politburo and the NDC found this was a serious offense which required expulsion. So he stands expelled from ZANU-PF with immediate effect. Then Lamek Chimanyiwa, the charge against him is engaging in factional activities and division. The province had imposed a 3-year suspension. The National Disciplinary Committee reduced it to 1-year suspension, and this was accepted by the Politburo. So Lamek Chimanyiwa stands suspended from holding any party position in ZANU-PF for 1 year. Comrade Charles Masika, authorizing and distributing false and misleading material on social media. Again, the province had imposed 2-year suspension. The National Disciplinary Committee reduced it to 1 year, and the recommendation of the National Disciplinary Committee was accepted by the Politburo. So he stands suspended from holding any position in ZANU-PF for 1 year, but you remain a card-carrying member. Karen Maingahama, posting anti-ZANU-PF messages on social media. The province had recommended 3-year suspension. The National Disciplinary Committee upheld that decision, and the Politburo accepted that recommendation. So Karen Maingahama stands suspended from holding any party position in ZANU-PF for the next 3 years. Edson Ringwa, posting anti-ZANU-PF messages on social media, but worse, illegal land allocations in Giza in violation of sections 552 and 553 of the party constitution. Basically, this is what you would call land baron. Uyanondoenda panzvimbo isiri yake, wototanga kuisa hoko panapa, woita nhano, woisa imwe hoko, wototengesera vanhu woti, this is my land. The Provincial Disciplinary Committee had recommended a 3-year suspension, but the National Disciplinary Committee recommended, and this was accepted by the Politburo, recommended expulsion. We wanted to send a clear message to who would be land barons that the party will not tolerate the nonsense and the disorder that they are perpetrating across the country. Denzel Romol, that is the next one, publishing party positions without authorization from the relevant departments. 2, deliberately leaking false information to foment division within the party. Running an anti-ZANU-PF media ghost account to advance a divisive agenda, and fanning political intolerance and engaging in conduct likely to provoke disunity or negatively impacting on the party as such. The province had recommended a 3-year suspension. We accepted it as National Disciplinary Committee, and we passed it on to the Politburo, which accepted the recommendation. So Comrade Denzel Romol will be suspended from his position, but will remain a card-carrying member. He cannot hold any party position for the next 3 years. Comrade Blessing Kambumu, the charges deliberately disseminating false information on social media, causing disharmony and division within the party, clandestinely running a ghost social media account to spread falsehoods, incite factionalism and create disunity, engaging in factional activities, and using social media to cause divisions and undermine party unity, and so on. The province imposed 3-year suspension. As a committee, National Disciplinary Committee, we upheld that decision, that sentence, and the Politburo accepted the 3-year suspension, which means Comrade Blessing Kambumu cannot hold a party position within Zanu-PF for the next 3 years, but will remain a card-carrying member. Nicole Mutasa, posting anti-Zanu-PF messages on social media. The province recommended 3-year suspension. The National Disciplinary Committee accepted the recommendation, and the Politburo has also accepted that recommendation. So Nicole Mutasa will stand suspended from holding any party position in ZANU-PF for the next 3 years, but will remain a card-carrying member. Comrade Emmanuel Juta, circulating a fraudulent petition advocating the removal of provincial chairman, Comrade Masimurembwa, knowing fully the legality of his actions. The province had imposed a 3-year suspension. The National Disciplinary Committee reduced it to 2 years, and the Politburo accepted that recommendation. There is something still on Harare which I will not mention, but just to say that there are issues that we are still following up to bring Harare province to the correct line. Harare province is a whole. So there are cases where we felt charges should have been brought, but were not brought, and we are going to pursue those as we go. Then, lastly, 2 cases. Ratizo Mukarati, as you may be aware, she was charged of funding factionalism, and the Provincial Disciplinary Committee had issued a prohibition order against her. When the issue came to the National Disciplinary Committee, we felt that this was a matter that should properly be resolved by the Women's League, which, as you know, is chaired by Comrade Mebo Chinomona. So we referred this matter to the Women's League, which has in turn resolved it by demoting Comrade Mukarati to a position to be decided on by the relevant organ. I take it that this relevant organ is the Provincial District Provincial Women's League. They will give a position there, but she's no longer the chairwoman of the Harare Women's League. Lastly, the case from Manicaland, Comrade Happiness Nyakwezwa. You may recall that this matter came before the National Disciplinary Committee a long time ago. I was then not even a member of that committee. And the matter was referred by the National Disciplinary Committee to the Politburo, which decided to reduce the suspension period of the National Disciplinary Committee from 3 years to 2 years. She then sought to appeal. And what we said as the National Disciplinary Committee was that the right of appeal is rightly a constitutional right. But from the National Disciplinary Committee, it will go to the ad hoc Appeals Court of Congress in terms of Section 533, subsection 3 of our party constitution. This concludes the issues that, the other issues that I want to briefly report on. But I just want to touch on the issue of WhatsApp groups, and to say that the National Political Commissar is chairing a committee. He could perhaps advise us who composes that committee to come up with a Zanu PF social media management policy. We found that the party suffered a lot of harm from what goes on social media. We have no problem if the media says it's Chamisa. We have no problem, because we know he's not a member of Zanu PF. If the utterances which are malicious to Zanu PF are coming from the opposition, that is their area to criticize government, to criticize the Zanu PF or the party leaders, the other political parties. What we don't approve is a Zanu PF cadre, a member of Zanu PF, from the cell right up to the president, using the social media to criticize colleagues. The channels are there. So we are hopeful that the social media policy that is to be crafted will assist, not entirely, will help assist put order and discipline and unity within our party. Maybe Comrade Machache may want, the composition.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
A very good afternoon to you. The composition of the team looking at the policy on social media is comprised of the Commissariat Department, which we are chairing, the Information and Publicity Department, the Legal Department, and the Science and Technology Department. The draft has already been forwarded to us. We presented it yesterday to the Politburo, who will study it, make any comments, make any corrections, additions, and then finally we shall submit the final draft for approval to the Politburo. But in it are measures to control the official approval of WhatsApp groups, especially those that are operating in the name of the party, and to make sure that those that are administrating those groups are held accountable for any mischief, any indiscipline that happens in the group, because they must take action to prevent denigration of leadership, mudslinging of leadership and the party. So there are several control measures we have put into the policy, and any member who digresses from those will certainly appear before the disciplinary committee, and charges will be leveled against him. We have already seen from the decision of the Politburo last night that most of the indiscipline was carried out using social media, using the WhatsApp groups. And all those that have been expelled, the utterances were carried to the public through social media. So this shows the seriousness with which the party is treating this matter, and will certainly make sure we enforce it strongly in future. I think that's all I can say for the moment.
Just to add that the party is going to put its foot down on issues to do with WhatsApp exchanges. WhatsApp participation, we are going to put our foot down. We have also developed technology to detect who are the ghost people. A lot of people have been masquerading under ghost accounts. We have technology now to tell who is the ghost. Unlike the real ghost, you may not see him. But this time we will be able to uncover who are the ghosts who are doing all these things. I also wanted to cover what the Commissar submitted yesterday, which I think he will elaborate. The parties, as you know, under our constitution, membership is from 15 years and above. The PC, the National PC, Comrade Machachi, is now developing a policy whereby we seek to engage them earlier than 15 years. Because as you know, when we had our elections in 2023, those who were 13 years are going to be voting in 2028. And we want to give ourselves an opportunity to see how we can engage them in a friendly way that much earlier, so that by the time they get to 2028, we have some engagement of sort, and we'll decide on what platforms and so forth, what form it will take. That is the responsibility of the Commissar. Also to advise, of course, that the by-elections, local by-elections in respect of Chegutwara Rural District Council, Ward 3, Rushinga, Ward 19, and Norton Town Council, Ward 3. The by-elections will be held on the 8th of March, tomorrow.
Next week.
That's it. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Indeed, tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8th of March. Of course, we are geared for that as usual. Also to announce, of course, that we won and contested the Gurue Rural District Ward 14 by-election and the Nyanga Ward 19 by-election. The opposition, which, as you know, is in complete disarray, failed to field any candidates. You know, I mention the complete disarray because what is happening is we now find, if it were not for people we are expelling now, the opposition would be dead. But somehow, our own members are now seeking to take over the role of the opposition. And we cannot tolerate it. The opposition has no meaningful agenda to attract the support of any sensible person. But here we are, when everything is going well, then we find our own members trying to assume obligations which, rightly speaking, belong to the opposition. We also to announce that there will be tomorrow a Glenview South constituency by-election. Glenview South, that is parliamentary. 5 candidates have already submitted their CVs for vetting by the Department of National Security. The nominations court will sit on 13th March, while the by-election will be held on the 12th of April. And the candidates are, and I'll mention one has been disqualified. One of the candidates that we passed yesterday. Sisi Tawomera, Comrade Jabulani Mbetu, Comrade Bwanya Muchakati, Comrade Tawanda Utete, Comrade Ofat Muchue. This one we have disqualified because in terms of our party policy, standing party policy, if a candidate loses twice, we will bar that person from contesting more than twice on the party ticket. So, in the same constituency. So that decision was taken, and so the names which will go for nomination will not include Comrade Ofad Muchue. Yeah. Also, I think to mention, finally, the Secretary General gave out a calendar for our events for the year. I don't know whether you'll be interested. What I think is critical is that we will have our conference this year in Gokwe.
No, Independence.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. I made it too. We will have our independence celebrations in Gokwe. Thank you for the correction. The venue and place to be decided, that is with respect to our conference. But we already have the dates, which are always subject to changes, but they are Wednesday, 22nd of October for the Politburo meeting, Central Committee, Thursday, which will also be the day of traveling. Then the conference itself, Friday, the 24th, and Saturday, the 25th. And Sunday, the 26th, will be the departure day. Those who are true ZANU-PF cadres will abide by what we have said. Those who are not will continue. But if we find a ZANU-PF cadre participating on WhatsApp, denigrating party leadership, denigrating ZANU-PF, sowing seeds of division and disunity, we will not hesitate. That message must be very clear. Those who may want to form to band together, what they are basically suggesting is that they may band together against ZANU-PF. Well, it's a democratic society, isn't it? What we are after are our members. This is why we also have by the way, we also have a social group, isn't it? That's what is crafting. And so those who are going to be opposing ZANU-PF's leadership will also be encountered by those who are saying no, defending the party. That's what happens in a democratic society. We can't all be of one mind. We accept it. What we don't like is for someone to say, come to us, we are one same mind. We abide by the party constitution. We respect, we allow to President Idi Mnangagwa. Then in the night, he's doing the very opposite. That we cannot tolerate. What I would put is that factionalism was rearing its head. And the decision we have taken is basically to nip it in the bud. Yes, factionalism was rearing its head. And because of lack of firmness, you know, we were like drifting. No more drifting in ZANU-PF. It has to be disciplined. Anyone who shows up as a factional leader or engaging in factional activity will be ruthless in terms of discipline. Suspension, if it's warranted, or expulsion. If they want to form their own party when they are expelled, they are free. It's a free country. But within ZANU-PF, we are saying loud and clear, we will not tolerate that nonsense. Leaders are leaders. You can't just make any utterances on social media and otherwise and hope to get away with it. And you still want us to elect you. And people like that, if we are not careful, they could be elected into positions of authority in the party. And what to become of our party, our revolutionary party? No. That concludes my statement to you. Thank you very much for your attention.